Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we're talking about things that ugly homes have in common. Yes, these are basic design mistakes. These are things every beautiful home has to have. No matter the home, they have to have them. So the first thing we absolutely have to talk about that makes a home beautiful is lighting. I don't care the home. I don't care how new it is, how old it is. I don't care if it's dated. I don't care if it's ugly. If you have good lighting, it will look good. Okay, ask some of these influencers. They all know when you edit the photos, you edit the lighting first and they catfish everyone. Not like me. However, lighting is key. It's essential to beautiful spaces, to beautiful design. And I always like warm lighting. I always say 2700. I don't care where you live or what the temperature outside is, okay? The temperature of lighting needs to be warm in your home because it's moody, it's an atmosphere. And I don't care what everyone else has, okay? If they're at the hospital, it should be probably brighter, but this is not that space. And if it was that space, I would need to be in the hospital because I could not deal. There are, of course, some exceptions in, a bathroom, a kitchen, or spaces that really need a lot of functionality. Like, if you have a workshop and a garage, like that should probably be brighter lighting. Okay, you can go a little bit brighter than 2700, but lighting is essential. As many alternative sources of lighting as possible are key, all right? At least 3, lamps, floor lamps, sconces, you name it, you can have it. I don't want the overhead to be like the only light source in a space, just because when you're entertaining or you're hosting or you're just sitting in your space, you're doing stuff, you're working in that room, you're having a glass of wine, a little sip of a martini. I don't want to have like some glaring, insane light overhead. That's not relaxing to me. That's not setting an atmosphere and a mood. Okay, and if there is one thing I know about, it's a solid vibe, and that's just not it. You have to have great lighting, multiple sources. Put a lamp in every corner. I don't care. I have a lamp right here, okay? And there's no reason for this to be on, all right? It's like not even noon right now. It's 11:31 a.m. right now when I'm filming this, and I have a lamp on because it's all about the mood, it's all about the vibe, and I need to have that because it gives that like incredible glow. It's casting on the wall. That's what you need in your space. At night especially. So lamps in every corner, as many of them. Get a desk lamp, get a rechargeable battery operated lamp to put on a floating table like a coffee table. Perfect place for one of those. You can also do candles, but candles burn, like you have to replace them. They're actually like, candles are not cheap. Like, you know what I mean? Candles are just not inexpensive. So I wouldn't do candles myself. I would do lamps. I like lamps. Warm tone lighting. You need lots of layered lighting, lamps all over. And I will say that you can have an overhead. I'm not like some of these like influencers who are like, oh, I could never have an overhead light. I look good in overhead lighting, okay? I don't know about everybody else relating to that, but I'll look good in every light. But you need to have a dimmer switch on it because too much lighting is not great. As an interior designer, find that I need to have large scale light fixtures. I want them to be big. I want them to fill up the ceiling in that space because there's nothing else happening. There's no furniture on the ceiling, right? I want a big light fixture and they tend to have a lot of lights. So I need a dimmer in order to make them comfortable enough to have on. In my living room, I have a beautiful, big, fat crystal chandelier, and it has a plethora of lights on it. Way too much for me to actually use that on a regular basis or like have it on full brightness. Like literally, if I had it on full, it would be like an operating room. I don't like that. Well, it would be a very warm toned and aesthetic operating room. Let's make that clear. I have to have a dimmer switch. I can't live in this house without them. You absolutely need dimmer switches everywhere. Have an electrician out to install them. And you can even get like remote controlled dimmer switches. There's all sorts of like really crazy stuff happening with light switches right now and electronics. Be on the lookout for what is going to solve your problem. If you're uncomfortable in a space, there's an answer for that problem. You just need to research and find and discover that solution, which I may have for you, and I could share that with you in a one-on-one consultation. Yes, I offer them to all of you to answer any and all of your design and decorating needs. You can book a consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. And just remember, the times available are already listed in your time zone. Let's talk about something else that ugly homes don't have that is a basic when it comes to interior design. You have to have it. That is flow. Flow is everything, and there's different types of flow. One is physical, right? The way we move between spaces, doorways, pathways, walkways. We want to make sure clear flow, access, pathways to doors, whatever. You get the point. The other form of flow is visual. And we do that through materials, through colors, through hardware choices. You want to create a home that feels consistent and that has reference points to other spaces. That way we feel like we're in the same space. And you can have different styles or different vibes. That room can be really bright, this room can be really moody, but there should be flow and connection between them. For example, in my home, I have a problem. My problem is that I'm obsessed with the color blue. Now, it's not a major problem because it's stunning, just like me, but I love blue. So I have a lot of blue in my home. That is a form of flow. I have a little bit in every room. So my living room, I have a blue sofa, and I just got a set of blue accent chairs that I love. My dining room is actually a mix of two different tones of blue because I love the contrast and the interest it creates. As you come upstairs, well, our gym is actually painted a dark blue. That is really interesting. It's very moody compared to a all-white living room. And then in the studio here, this is very bright. This is an off-white wall color called Asiago, but I have sapphire blue accents all over the place. Even I'll go as far as to add a little tassel onto something just to have a little pop of that color in a space where I need it. That creates flow because you see repetition in that throughout my home. Another thing I do is I use brass and gold accents. I don't do like brassy brass, but like a golden brass, that's the vibe. All of the hardware on my window treatments and doors, all in brass. All of the picture frames in my house, I have accents of them that are gold, and I have some of them that are black to contrast that, like this one behind me. And you can also see there's some blue in here. I'm creating those references. That is flow. I have the same thing throughout the house, used in different ways and different forms, and that creates that consistency I need to have a feeling of continuity, to have that movement throughout my home that feels natural. A lot of times you see homes that feel mismatched. They have different styled pieces of furniture, a different set of furniture here and there. They have colors that don't really relate to one another. And I genuinely believe that there's no colors you can't put together. Like, you can mix, if you want to do like yellow and purple in your house, they're not colors I would immediately choose to go together, but they can work as long as you have enough consistency within the space and the use of color. Another thing you can do when it comes to flow is material, or texture. Even if you have linen furniture in this space, you can do a linen upholstered piece over there. Just use that fabric in repetition to create that sense of flow. Flow is key to having a beautiful home in a space that feels continuous, that feels like it has continuity throughout it, and that has that relationship from space to space. And I think that's a big thing I'm always answering for my design clients. They're like, well, what do I do about this? And I'm like, okay, well, what do we already have? Like, let's pull from something we have. I think that's key, knowing when enough is enough and when to pull away. Sometimes you just try and add too much of too many different things, and you just need to repeat what you already have to create a space that not only has good flow, but is easy to enjoy, relax, and be in. When it comes to interior design, something that ugly homes don't have and beautiful homes always do is what is called scale. Scale means a lot of different things. Some of you are like, ooh, the scale in the bathroom, I'm scared of her. No, that's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about the measuring device, which is called a scale and used in draftsmanship. That's a topic for another video. I'm talking about the way furniture relates to each other. Things like sizes, like small, medium, large. That's not descriptive enough when it comes to your home. That's like what you see on a t-shirt. Honestly, like, they don't even sell jeans in a small, medium, large, right? It doesn't relate to the visual size of something, and that's important when it comes to interior design. So how do you use scale in your home? You can use a piece of furniture that is bulky, that doesn't have openings underneath it or open legs, to create a heavier feeling in one area. And you can use something that is open to reduce this visual size of something to create a sense of balance. Here is an example. I love this studio. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. And I have a gorgeous, gorgeous partner's desk. It is, heavy, it's mahogany, it's dark. It has quite large scale. Physically, it's not a small piece of furniture. I mean, the thing is like probably 5 feet long. Like, it's a big piece of furniture, but it has a very, very heavy scale. Then on this side of the room, I actually have a dark rug because it makes all of the furniture in this space feel heavier and therefore creates balance between the two. And it makes the scale of the desk feel smaller and the scale of everything in this space feel larger, therefore creating balance. I love scale, and it's very hard to explain and easier to show, but scale makes a difference. You don't want to have a big bulky piece of furniture on one side of the room and then a very light and fine and delicate piece of furniture across from it, because the bulky piece is going to feel really heavy while that other piece feels light. It's barely going to be noticeable because this big bulky piece is taking up the entire room. Here's a living room. It's got a whole handful of things wrong with it, but the bulky furniture, the scale of this furniture is just too big for this room. If this sofa was a little bit more reduced, if it didn't have as large of arms or was more open underneath, it would feel smaller and the room would feel bigger and less full of stuff. And then, it would feel more inviting and more welcoming. Scale is what makes a space feel large or small or open or closed off. It's what makes a space feel balanced, and you have to have great scale to have great design. I don't make the rules, I just share them. And rules are meant to be broken. And I will always share with you how to break those rules here on this channel, which is why, if you haven't already joined us and become a part of our GarrettLeChic family, I don't know what's wrong, but we can correct that. We can rectify the situation by hitting that subscribe button. So take a moment, hit that red button, turn it gray, become a part of the GarrettLeChic family. And I would also greatly appreciate it if you gave this video a like. And listen, I know that you know someone that maybe they need a little bit of help, or maybe they're just looking for a good time because we know I'm hilarious and beautiful. Share this video with them because friends help friends. Speaking of friends helping friends, we want to make sure our friends are quality people to have in our lives. And when it comes to your home and decorating, ugly homes don't have good quality and beautiful homes do. So quality is the next thing we have to talk about. You have to have it in your home, okay? You need quality, and that is the T. All right, all tea, no shade. Garbage furniture is garbage. You don't want to have that in your home because it doesn't make it look and feel good. You don't even realize. I literally saw a comment from one of you, one of our GarrettLeChic family members, and I'm always in the comments investigating and seeing what's happening and responding and answering. I saw that you said, hey, a lot of people don't realize that a moving company won't even insure or cover or will make you sign a waiver if you have flat pack furniture because it will probably get damaged in your move. And that's the whole point. Like, quality matters, and good quality pieces of furniture, you're able to keep them for a long time. They last really beautifully and you don't have to replace them all of the time. This sofa, for example, that I'm sitting on is white boucle, a white sofa. I have dogs, okay? Literally, Arden was just on my lap here. He went and laid on the floor because he was like, you're moving too much, you're being so extra and over the top, which, whatever. Judgment from a cavalier. But this sofa has withstood, all of what we put through it because it's in a more secluded area of our home. It's in the studio. I don't hang out in here, okay? I work in this room. So we don't hang out in here all the time, but I also went for something that had quality I know would stand up against whatever we have to throw at it. The boucle is very tightly woven. It's not that loose, cheap stuff you get at like box stores, and it's a good quality piece. It's a heavy piece of furniture. Doing that and getting a good quality piece means that I've had this sofa for 3 years. I don't know that I can say that about any other design commentator, content creator that I follow, that they've had the same piece of furniture for that long because they're rotating through things and they just are not getting good quality. And that is not something you want to do in your home. Focus on good quality pieces, not necessarily new, not expensive pieces, but quality. I love Facebook Marketplace and I find amazing deals on there. I love antiques and vintage pieces of furniture. This table right in front of me, for example, has a green marble top on it and a beautiful federal style base on it. I love this furniture piece and it's like cherry wood with marble on the top of it. I didn't spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on this piece of furniture. It's a great piece. I love the table. I love the design and the style of it, and the quality is there, but the price point wasn't. So you can find that in your home by looking for vintage or just taking your time, doing a lot of research, shopping sales. Get good quality pieces of furniture. Also, check the reviews on that furniture because it's not easy to send back something like a big rug or a heavy table. You want to make sure you're getting the right thing the first time. Quality makes the difference. Don't just be the person that looks for the cheapest thing. Something that a ugly home may have, but maybe they just didn't do right, and something that beautiful homes have, and sometimes they're lacking, and we need to address, because I want your home to be beautiful and aesthetic, but it needs personality. It needs personality. I don't want to see a magazine in your home. I'm not talking about a magazine on the table, that's fine. I don't want your home to look like it's out of a magazine necessarily, or like a catalog. I don't want everything to be from the same place. I want your style to have a narrative that is personal to you. I want to walk in that space and be like, oh, this is who this person is. Even if you're like ultra modern and minimalistic, you can send a lot of messages by the colors you're using, the materials you're choosing, those sorts of things. And you can also send a lot of messages by the decor and accessories you have around. Is everything vintage? Did you get it in your travels? Is it all new? Does it have, a specific style? Do you have a collection you like? Tell me about who you are, because I don't want to see a boring house, okay? It may look good in a sales catalog. There's no arguing that, but does it feel real? Like, does it look like you actually live there? Does it look like you just ordered an entire page from a catalog? I don't want to see that. It does not feel elevated to me. We can create beautiful design that feels intentional and personal by infusing your personality. And I think that starts with having things that you love. Like, find inspiration and start building from there. In my home, when we moved into this house, we had a lot of artwork and we wanted to use it all. So that was the base we started with. And then we took the furniture pieces we had, some of which we no longer wanted, and we started layering in the pieces that we kept together in the space. And then it was like, okay, what are we doing for rugs? And we found rugs that we really loved that referenced back to other things that we already had. You can create personality and beautiful design that feels intentional and personal. That is what I like. I'm tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like, oh, did you paint, the walls in your house white? What color did you choose? Like, okay, like, we've seen it, but what are you giving me in addition to that? Put a coffee table book or a collection that you are interested in, that you have, that means something to you, and that makes a space have personality. And I think that is interesting. That's something beautiful homes always have. They're not overly staged. They're beautiful, they're personal, and they are lived in. Sometimes a little bit of a mess or a little clutter somewhere says that, and I think that's okay. Now that you know all of the things that ugly homes don't have and beautiful homes do, let's talk about real design for real people in real homes. Be sure you check out this video right over here, and I will see you over there.